Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of CXO Conversations. I'm Claudia Tarico, and I'm the editor at Demand Gen Report, and I'm excited to have Dan Frohnen with me today. He is the CMO at the sending platform Sendoso. I'm really looking forward to kind of catching up with him to hear more about life at Sendoso and, kind of how direct mail has evolved, especially during this whole pandemic. So yeah, hi, Dan. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Hey, how are you? It's super awesome to be here today and excited for this conversation.
Awesome, me too. Well, let's get right into it. We're kind of in this, middle ground of COVID or aftermath, depending on where you are, but some people are still working from home and events are still off the table. So I've been hearing a lot of rumors that, some people think that they have had to pause on direct mail efforts. And I personally know that's not true, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and kind of hopefully together we could debunk this myth for good.
Yeah, when COVID first hit, it really did kind of create I'd call it like a thought vacuum where people were really trying to figure out, like, how do my direct mail programs work now that everyone is work from home? And a lot of our customers pivoted to e-gifting. It was a natural way to, still get an offer in front of someone, like a white paper plus, thanks for taking the time to read this. Here's $15 to go have lunch on me or donate to charity. But within about a week and a half of shelter in place starting for the majority of the United States, we shipped a new feature called address confirmation. And really what that does is it allows the marketer, SDR, AE, CSM, whoever is leveraging the Sendoso platform to actually send an offer out to whoever they're trying to get a piece of direct mail or a gift in front of and say, hey, I'm about to send this to you. Where would you like it shipped? And if they confirm that it's their home address, then it very plainly says this will be a one-time transaction. The person sending it will not actually see the address and will be shedding it from our system. So we've really tried to help our customers to get what they want in front of their prospective customers, but at the same time really respect the consumer rights side of things, because we all know that personal information and business information are vastly different worlds, and people have a lot of different thoughts on that.
Awesome. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you're seeing your customers really continue with direct mail in this way, and how are they getting opt-in? Is the messaging changing? I know it's sometimes difficult to get people to really commit to providing their information. So any advice that you could give sales or even marketing reps on how to really kind of go about that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I just keep arriving back to, and I think it's just so much more important than it ever has been before, is what's the offer and what's the give to get. I think, before COVID, we kind of got away with a lot of spray and pray as marketers. And, when you don't have events, when you don't have business travel, and you have very limited ways to get in front of your audience in a more personal way, it means you really have to double down on that offer. And our customers and ourselves as marketers at Sendoso have really taken the approach of more one-to-one and one-to-few, and crafting the offer based on the audiences that we're trying to get in front of. So like SnapDocs is one of our customers that sent out a definitive guide to digital closings. So they're in the mortgage space, and they chose a C-level audience that was highly engaged. They got it in front of 200 of those C-levels and saw an 84% conversion rate from address confirmation to that buyer's guide landing and then them converting to pipeline, right? We have other customers like Lessonly who were, really trying to pivot to digital events and used an e-gift strategy to get that conversion to actually engaging with their actual content. So they saw a 60% virtual event attendance rate. And really all it was sending a charity choice offer at the very beginning of the webinar to get people to attend. It's like, hey, give us 60 minutes of your time and go ahead and donate $15 to the charity of your choice. It's pretty good, well time spent, right?
Yeah, I love that. And I love the charity component now because I feel like a lot of the times, even, I don't know, like even a year or two ago, swag and gifting, a lot of the times was kind of just meh, I guess you would say, like nothing really crazy or interesting, and a lot of the times a little bit wasteful. So are you seeing a lot more of that charitable approach coming, down the pipe within B2B companies and their direct mail efforts?
We definitely are. And I think it's so timely because it's a lot of times direct mail, gifting, swag. It's more of a reciprocity play where you did something for them. So um, charity just creates so much goodwill, right? So not only do we have like charity choice, so you can go out and choose whatever you would want to donate to, but a lot of our direct vendors that we work with, we try to work with minority-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, as well as like companies like Snack Nation, where they actually have specific snack bundles that are sourced from like nonprofits. So that money goes directly back into like a charitable sort of community-based program. So we always try to find ways to incorporate it into all of our offerings, whether you're deciding that you want to send something physical, but it has a goodwill attached to it, or just straight up donating the money as a recipient. And it's been very popular.
I love that. And I take it that, even just from what you have said already, your clients are obviously getting really creative with these direct mail strategies. Can you share any additional like unique approaches to direct mail, or the types of gifts that people are sending lately?
Yeah. So one of I've got two favorites right now. One is from PubNub, and they actually sent basically a little charity choice card that said "Be the Giver," and really gave the recipient the choice, like, you be the giver and give something to yourself because there's a redemption code here for you, or pass it on and go donate it to charity. And that's resonated super well. But one that I love too is from Terminus. So Terminus has done this. It's basically an ABM cookbook, and basically within this package that they send out to their prospects is a little cookbook that teaches you about the tech stack and how to run ABM programs. But then it also has some fun kitchen tchotchkes in there, which is a nice physical touch as well. Because I think with so many people being shelter in place, cooped up in their house, it's always fun to get a little kind of creative thing across your desk. And now Terminus has kitchen utensils sitting in people's kitchens with their logo, and they're kind of part of the shelter in place journey with a lot of their prospects now.
I love that. That's very cool. Personalization obviously is a really big, key to just all demand gen strategies. How can businesses really beef up their personalization efforts now that, we're lacking that face-to-face engagement? If there are any examples you could share, that would be great.
Yeah, one of my personal thought leadership platforms over the past few months has actually been when you think about personalization, we always gravitate towards knowing someone's first name, where they went to college, like all the stuff that you could quickly go and research. And I think that that's like super important. But there's this notion of what I call hyper relevancy, where to me, the ultimate act of personalization is actually taking a step back and kind of going back to our earlier conversation around the offer and why you're reaching out in the first place. And do you actually know anything about your prospect's business? Do you understand what business environment they're in? Have you adapted your offer and how you're trying to help them to their current situation? So when I think about personalization in this moment in time, it's actually more around, are you knocking on my door and being relevant, or are you still doing the old way where, you were kind of mass blasting people? Your offer was a little loose, but I had extra money in my budget. Or are you taking that extra time to look at my 10K if I'm a public company, or doing a little bit of research on my competitors and really giving me a few ideas up front on how you can bring value to my business and help me hit my goals?
Very interesting. And I take it maybe, all that intent data and engagement data that marketers and sales reps are collecting from even, other channels and other initiatives, they really play a decent role within even direct mail and gifting. Is that right?
Absolutely. So, I mean, just, when you have intent data and you're looking at certain topics like account-based selling versus demand generation versus field marketing, like if you know that that company is surging on those sorts of topics, then you can take that and, you don't have to be selfish and say, oh, they're in market, I'm going to go sell to them. You can say, ooh, they're in market, but they're actually super interested in these topics, and I'm going to send them content and an offer that's actually helping them that one level deeper, which ultimately increases your likelihood of even getting the conversation in the first place.
Very cool. I'd love to kind of pivot the conversation to you and Sendoso. So I'd love to hear, can you tell us a little bit more about your role as CMO at Sendoso and how long you've been in that role and what have been your top priorities and key learnings so far this year?
Sure. So, I mean, I've been at Sendoso for about a year now, and really what I was tasked with doing was coming in and helping the business scale. So, taking a marketing team that was 3 and kind of doubling, quadrupling it over the past year, and really getting a little bit more surgical about how we go to market. So, practicing what we preach, right? So there's no spray and pray. There's a methodic approach to who we can help and how we can help them, and going out and having relevant conversations. And really, I'm in charge of sales development all the way through to product marketing, demand generation, as well as being on the exec team and really being a champion for our prospects and our customer voice in the market. And one of the biggest initiatives that I've had over the past year is actually taking Sendoso as a technology and making it really a core part of what we do as a marketing sales team and showcasing that to the market. So our Sendoso for Sendoso program is a big part of what we do right now, and a lot of thought leadership can be found on our website around that.
Awesome. How are you guys handling the realities of, working from home and the pandemic, and how are you even seeing your clients approaching, all of this? Everything is digital now. We're all on Zoom conference calls and FaceTiming and things like that. How are you guys handling all of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting because I think if you work in technology, you're extremely fortunate right now because we have access to things like Zoom calls. We have access to cloud-based CRMs. We have access to, marketing automation. Everything that we use is already in the cloud, and the majority of us carry a laptop around. So I think once you got used to the idea that you weren't going to be traveling to an office and that you were going to have to create some balance and space in your personal life because it was going to get really blended, I think it was a natural kind of way for us to bounce back pretty quickly just because of the technology around us. So when I talk to other marketers in the space and our customers, it's a lot more to do with the realities of just not knowing, and really working with not only your prospects and your customers, but your employees, and really just kind of having a mentality that you can only control what you can control. So focus on that. And then if you're really in control, then whatever curveballs get thrown at you, you'll be that much more likely to be able to adapt because you've already kind of gotten your proverbial house in order, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. So the title of the series is CXO Conversations, and where I have conversations with all different varieties of C-level executives. So I kind of wanted to ask you, what type of conversations are you having with your peers and other CMOs? Are there any, top questions that you're hearing? Any key challenges or priorities? How are even the stress levels going on with your peers?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my peers, like earlier, like when the pandemic first hit, it was really around, what's the right size marketing budget for this moment in time? What's the right size marketing team? And all of like those really fundamentally hard questions. Because a lot of my peers in fast growing tech companies, you don't think about cutting your budget or running it flat. Like your job's to scale a company as quickly as possible. So a lot of it was just trying to figure that out in the early days, and I saw that start to shift in June, where I think a lot of those hard decisions were made. And now it's really about what does the future of engagement look like with such a fundamental thing like in-person events and business travel off the table. Engagement cannot just be this one dimension, right? You have to figure out how to get that next level engagement. And I think that that's through experiences. That's, a lot of stuff we're thinking about it with virtual wine tastings, different experiences on the platform, partnering with companies like On24 to take like a digital experience and add a physical element to it is really top of mind for a lot of marketers right now.
I love that. And my final question for you would be, what's next for Sendoso?
There's a lot that's next. So we're really busy, looking at our platform and making sure that we are, really bringing features to market that are the most relevant for how marketers, sellers, and CX need to be able to get in front of their prospects now. So lots of iteration with our address confirmation feature, a lot of things that we're calling Sendoso experiences coming to the platform, and then just continuing to lead the market, be as good of thought partners that we can be with our customers, and really going out and leading the way in how you create kind of offline engagement in this online world right now. Absolutely.
I love that. Well, Dan, thank you so much. That's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. And thanks to everyone out there for watching. If you're a C-level executive and you're interested in joining me for a conversation, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email is claudia@demandgenreport.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again, everyone. Stay safe and well.